Hello and welcome back to the channel, you handsome people. Tasteless is the name, and yes, you guessed it, Tarkov is the game. And as you read in the title, this is going to be a low budget, low recoil guide. And I do want to point it out, there's going to be personal preference. So the guns I like to use when I'm running budget loadouts, but also at the same time want a low recoil gun, you know, even if it means spraying someone in the legs or so. But we will be talking about that later on, how to use these guns effectively. Like I said, there's going to be a low budget, low recoil. Doesn't mean that the budget's going to be extremely low either. You know, certain guns just can't be lower than a certain amount of rubles. That can't be avoided, I'm afraid. But I do want to put in my favorite guns for kind of like each category, so to speak. And yeah, also, you know, I want to point out that, you know, not everyone's going to have infinite rubles that they can mess around with guns. So it's very hard to find that efficient loadout where the recoil's low, but at the same time, you're being effective in PvP/PvE environment within a raid, right? So that is the importance of this guide, and I want to stress that. So you can build a nice, efficient gun to take out any enemy, whether it's PvE, PvP, whether it's a Chad, whether it's a Timmy, you know, just get that really effective gun in a raid scenario. So let's crack on into this. Let's go into the inventory. Please excuse the mess. I haven't cleaned my room in a while. I'm just kidding. I've been playing Elden Ring. I've just been logging into Scav, so this is absolute atrocity of a stash. But anyway, we're going to start out. We're going to go back to those Call of Duty days. I'm getting nostalgia already. I absolutely love this gun. I love to use this gun. It's so much fun. Yes, I am talking about the MP5 SD. Now this, it doesn't get as budget as this. This gun is so cheap. It is dirt cheap. And yeah, all you got to do is put a scope on it. So I believe it costs $401 from Peacekeeper. Putting a scope on it, whatever your scope preference is, just whip it on there. You can opt in to put a laser on it if you really want to. You know, you need to put these attachments on it. But as you can see, starting out off the bat, without any grip, well, you can't even put a grip on it, but without any extra attachments, just standard MP5 SD as it is, as you buy it from Peacekeeper, 33 vertical recoil. Horizontal recoil doesn't really matter too much. Ergonomics, 58 as well. So we're also in the blue on that. That's an absolutely wonderful gun. And the special thing about this gun is, you know, if we go to link search and we have a look over here, check this out, boys. We've got a 50 rounder magazine now. I don't know you guys are going to know about this. Yeah, beginning of the wipe, they are super ridiculously expensive because of the, I believe it's the gunsmith quest. Yes, it is the gunsmith quest. You need one of these bad boys, and they're really hard to come by. But later on in the wipe, they tend to die down in price. As you can see here, 13k for a 50 round mag. That is absolutely ridiculous. However, yes, if you are fighting people with Altons, if you are fighting absolute monster mega chads, this gun's going to be more effective by aiming for the legs. So just bear that in mind when you are using this gun. I tend to go more for the legs than the face, unless I can see like they haven't got a mask on, they haven't got an Alton on. But the recoil is really easy to handle. It is ridiculous. It's such a fun gun to use. So that's going to be the first gun I want to talk about today. And yeah, definitely, if you haven't tried this gun yet, or you know, you're looking for a gun, a reliable budget gun, then definitely make sure to check this one out because it's absolutely insane. Moving on, we've got, it wouldn't be a budget loadout guide without the UMP, right? Now, everyone should know about this by now. This is dirt cheap. This gun's dirt cheap. The bullets are absolutely amazing. So reliable. 25 round mags is the only downside. Literally just put any grip on it. Put your preference scope on it. You can go with or without a silencer. Without a silencer, it's 53 recoil. With a silencer, I do believe it goes down to 45 or 44 recoil. Super effective. You know, you don't need to buy stupid attachments to put the laser on. It's all there, all on the gun, so you can put everything on it. And yeah, this gun is absolutely bonkers. It is dirt cheap. I feel like I'm forced to add it. I feel like I'm just repeating myself now when it comes to the UMP. If you're looking for a budget gun, use the UMP. Plain and simple, one of the best budget guns in the game. So moving on, the next gun I want to talk about is going to be the AK-74N. Now, I have already done a guide on an extremely good budget build for the AK-74M. Now this build is exactly the same for the N. The N is slightly cheaper from Prapor, I believe. I believe it's 35k for the N itself. All you're going to do, oh, wrong button. All you're going to do is go into the workbench. I do advise using the workbench when using the when whamming your guns together, right, guys? So make sure you unlock that, you level that up in the hideout, and all you're going to do is you're going to put a PWS CQB7 on the front. We're going to change this part, whatever it's called, the chassis or whatever it's called. We're going to change that to a B10. So this one, this bad boy here, the AK Zenit B10 handguard. There we go. Sometimes I forget words. Then we want an RK1, but you can also swap the RK1 if you want to be even more budget. you're only losing 1 recoil and you are gaining 5 ergo. So it's actually quite beneficial to use this. But like I said, I was trying to get the lower recoil on the budget scale. But if you want, personally, I'd prefer to go for the Magpul AFG Tactical Foregrip. The color doesn't really matter. They're about 7k each. If you look here, have a look. $41, which is 5.7k. There you go. So dirt cheap. Put them on. You're not really losing much recoil. You're gaining a shite ton of ergo. Yeah. And then we want to put your scope of preference, obviously with a bastion on it. We're not even going to change the stock out. We're going to leave the stock as it is. We're going to put the accessory recoil pad on there. Boom, bada boom, bada bing. We're going to be around, you can get this between 50 and 60 vertical recoil, which is going to be really, really effective. I did a video back on it, the beginning of the channel, the start of the channel. You're going to see me shooting that bad boy in factory, and the thing, after the initial kick, the thing shoots perfectly straight, which is absolutely ridiculous for an AK. Just be wary, the bullets aren't the most reliable. But if I am going budget and I want, you know, to run an AK, then this is what I tend to go for. Moving on though, if I do fancy an AK with a bit more power, then I go for the 5.56 AK. The BP AKs are too bouncy for me when it comes to low budget, low recoil. I do like, when it comes to the BP guns, to really invest those rubles to make them as effective as possible. I don't like having a bouncy BP as a 7.62 AK. I just don't like it. However, the AK-101, super effective. Really, really, it's not going to be as cheap as these guns. These guns are dirt cheap. So we've got the MP5, we've got the AK-74N, and we've got the UMP. Those are the budget of budget. They're on the lower side of the budget. We're kind of moving up to the higher tier budget now. This gun's going to set you back about, well, let's go through the price of the gun. So this was about, it's going to be about $1,000, which works out to be about 120k, just under $1,000, sorry. This one's literally $400. You just buy it as it is and whip any scope on there, whatever you want. You're looking at around $500, which is about, I don't know, 50, 60k. And this AK is going to set you back 35k plus. This AK is going to set you back about 120k to 130k, depending on time of day. However, now moving on to this AK, the AK-101, this is going to cost you about 45k from the vendor. No worries though. I believe you can maybe even get it cheap on the market. Let's have a quick looky look. There we go, 41k. But like I said, 42k from the vendor. That's super dirt cheap. You're shooting 5.56, so you're shooting M995, you're shooting M56A1s, M55A1s, stuff like that. So it's kind of useful bullets. They haven't been the most reliable this way, but they're still good. But this gun's going to set you back around 160 to 170k. If we have a look at the preset here, what we're running is, once again, the PWS CQB. We're running an RK1, but like I said, swap it out for one of these bad boys. You're losing 1 recoil, gaining 5 ergo. Definitely worth it. We've got a Mo stock, as always. I do really like the Mo stock when it comes to low recoil builds, because they're dirt cheap. Putting this butt pad on it, or whatever it's called, the butt pad, dirt cheap. We're running the Troy FLR, which is probably going to be the most expensive part of the gun. And yeah, like I said, as always, when it comes to AKs, Bastion and your preferred scope. That's that. I'll leave that up for a second so you can get a look at that build. Super simple, really low recoil. Once again, another AK that shoots dead straight. Now, the final gun I want to talk about, obviously, this is the meta gun. I say meta with the finger apostrophes next to my head. The meta gun, the M4, getting this thing super meta, you know, it always costs an arm and a leg. Now, this is the same as the AK. It's going to be ever so slightly more expensive. You're looking at 10 to 20k more than the AK we just built. But as you can see here, we're at 60 recoil. You can swap it up a bit more. Personally, I prefer the AK to the M4. The only advantage here is that you can use those 60 round mags. That's going to absolutely destroy your ergo, but then you can just spray the shit out, like you can spray the absolute living shit out of people, right? Which is super, super fun. However, it's going to cost you a bit more. It's going to set you back a bit more. So it's not on the lower end of the budget side, but still, this is the most budget M4 I personally could make. And yeah, I'm happy with this. I use this quite often when I'm running budget builds and fancy using an M4. As you can see, we're running the muzzle brake, the AR-15 Bulletech ST6012. I'm not going to go through all the numbers. As you can see there, though, it's going to get us nice and low recoil. We've got the MK12 gas block. We haven't got that stupid, wherever it is. Hold on 1 second. We haven't got the stupid M4 FS. I hate this thing. Gets in the way. Always swap it out for the MK12 or something like that. You do need to put this 10-inch arms rail on there, which is going to, one of the reasons why the price goes up. As always, we've got the preferred scope. For the handguard, we have got the MK10RL, which is going to lower the recoil significantly. As you see here as well, we're still in blue ergo. I'm trying to keep all the guns in blue ergo while doing this. And as you can see, as always, my go-to low budget, low recoil stock. We got the Colt A1 buff tube with the Mo carbine stock with the FDE with the butt pad on there as well. So like I said, these are kind of on the higher end. If I was going to go for budget out of these two, because they're firing the same bullets essentially. If you do want to go budget, go for the AK-101. If you want to spray someone down with 60 round mags, this is going to be the low budget M4 that you want to use. Apart from that, it's very, very hard to get low recoil, low budget guns, because if you're talking about budget guns in Tarkov, in the current meta, in the current state of Tarkov, then you want to be more looking at, you know, your RFBs, your SR25, stuff like that. You can make those budget really, really cheap. Even going for sniper rifles, you know, like a sniper bullet tends to drop most chads. So if you do want to go for, you know, super budget, you can just literally run a Mosin and get away with it. It works, honestly. I've tried it so many times. But yeah, these are my 5 low budget, low recoil guns that I like to, they're my go-to guns. So I hope that guide helps you in some way. I hope you guys enjoy using these guns. If you want to try them out, make sure you do, because they're super dirt cheap, super fun to use, super easy to make. I don't think you need crazy high level traders to make them either, so you can do them quite early, which is also nice. And yeah, with that, that's going to be the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like. If you've got any questions, or if you've got any other suggestions for low recoil, low budget, I'd love to hear them. Like I said, these are just my personal preferences currently in this meta, in this wipe that I like to use where I save money, at the same time getting a nice, efficient, low recoil gun. And yeah, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, as it helps an absolute ton. Like I said, at 500 subscribers, 500 subscribers, we will be doing a massive giveaway. So make sure you subscribe to that. And with that, I hope you guys have a nice day, and peace out.